Hi everyone. Dementia units are very demanding places to live in, and you need a lot of patience and tolerance in order to be able to manage. Often school teachers and nurses manage well because nurses are used to hospitals and dementia units, and teachers are used to a noisy classroom. Also, men from the army are used to the barracks. Those that have lived in boarding facilities when they're young have that experience. But for people that have lived on their own, often for 10, 20 years in a quiet environment, to then sort of be thrown into a dementia unit in their experience is extremely demanding. And so respite can help a lot. So if, for example, they're taken out half a day every Sunday to be with the family for the lunch and relaxing in the afternoon, this can just be enough to enable them to unwind from all the pressures that they're having to cope with all week and be able to settle and relax enough to then go back and be able to cope in the environment once again. And so, respite is needed, either to go out and to go home for half a day being best to be out of the environment altogether, or to be encouraged, that the person, staff can encourage them if the person forgets, but to have 1-2 hours of respite, relaxation in their rooms in the afternoon, so that they have that chance to be away from the din and the noise and, the aggressive behaviour that can just sort of rupture out of nowhere and for no reason sometimes. So, if you're a school teacher, you're used to that in the classroom. If you've had 30 kids in the classroom every hour, the work day, 8 hours a day or 7 hours a day, and now you're living with 30 people, it's like similar scenario. And with the nurses, living in a dementia unit is just like living in the workplace if they've worked in nursing homes and things before. So they're used to the routine and the medication trolleys and people being sick and all of that. But if you're not used to any of these things, it's incredibly disorientating. I mean, it's already confusing having dementia, but doubly disorientating, having to be living in this environment. So for the person to just consider every aspect as much as you can, if the person's got a warm, sunny, lovely, well fitted out, comfortable room, that can be their respite. Sun coming in, nice view of the garden, warm heater on, comfortable bed with a mohair rug that they can just pull over them, lie down and have 2 hours of relaxation. This helps enormously in then being able to adjust to the environment. So when you come and visit, if it's noisy and lots is going on, not to just think, that you'll just sit there and take it with your mother. That's where she's sitting, so she must want to be there. Probably not, but she's just sort of forgotten that she's got another option because all the residents get taken to the lounge after breakfast. After each meal, they all get placed in the lounge. So they're generally not, asked, do they want to go down and lie and relax in their room? They need to request that. But if the family member is not up to thinking about requesting it or has forgotten that they could do that, if you can request the carer and the charge nurse, please, if mum can have a rest after lunch for 2 hours in her room, then that will be charted. Everyone will get to know about it and your mother will get that much needed respite. So this is how we need to think about things on behalf of your parent, and ask them as well, if they'd like to have that relaxation for 2 hours after lunch. And if you say to mum, look mum, I can see that it's really noisy here. I'm finding it noisy and I'm only here half an hour a day. And I know you've never liked noise, even dad's record players. So how are you finding it here? Oh, terrible, dear. It's terrible. I mean, there's so much noise, so many things going on. Hard to know what it is, but it's all jumbly and jangly for me. Well, yes, I've been thinking that that's the case. So would you like to have a lie down after lunch for 2 hours? Yes, dear, that would be good. Okay, so I'll organise that with staff and, we'll get around that. Okay, so that's it. Now we've been through that. Now the next thing is, in terms of living in a dementia unit and the skills you need. Now, once again, communication skills come in here because, okay, patience and tolerance is needed, but at the same time, you have to try and mitigate the problem, or mitigate the challenge as much as you can to be able to manage it, to have that patience and tolerance to be able to manage it. But sometimes it does become unbearable, unmanageable. And if you have the ability to communicate to staff, then you can sort of take the edge off it. For example, if the TV's too loud and you can communicate and say to the staff, turn down the TV, please, it's too loud for us. Okay, so that's clear. Turn the TV down, but you need to be able to communicate that as a resident so the staff will turn the TV down. If you're beckoning like that or going like that, they're not probably going to understand it. So with the television down, then you're still having to cope with the disturbing behaviour of residents, but that often can't be helped. If someone's, is escalated, it's very difficult to de-escalate people when they're at high anger. But if they're at moderate level, sometimes with patience and tolerance and understanding from the group, a group effort of, saying to the person, oh, please, it's too much, just come and sit over here with us, in one of the group, if they can be patient enough and tolerant enough to say, come over here, Nan, sit in the chair here. We know you want to go home and you've been saying that all day, but just sit here with us. And she may, oh, yes, all right. And so if she sort of takes, 5 minutes to get into the chair, complaining all the way, but if someone next to her, a resident, can now calm down, everything's all right, you can join in the group. We like to have you here, and let's join in the newspaper reading. Oh, all right. So Nan might, with the love and affection or love and tolerance or love and inclusiveness, that's more the inclusiveness from the group, rather than being isolated and screaming. Now she's included in the group, she may well settle down if it's moderate level anger and be part of the group. But this takes a lot of patience and tolerance when you're, having to adjust to all this. They're high-level skills, really. They are high-level skills that you need in a dementia unit to cope with all of these things, with the noise, with the behaviour, with the racket, with the change of routine, as well as all the losses. So people in dementia units deserve so much credit. Those that can adjust and do adjust with support, they deserve so much credit, because it's unbelievable inner resilience that they're having to draw on to be able to manage in a dementia unit. It's no small thing. So that's why you can learn so much from dementia residents, and that's why I loved working with dementia residents, because they had that wisdom and that insight, which when they could communicate, you were able to learn so much from them and observe, the skills that they had to be able to manage and negotiate and work out ways of being able to manage in a dementia facility and keep that stability of mind, as many of them did. The majority, even in the working group that I was in, was remarkable. So, they're inspirational places once we work through, the first 2 or 3 months of the person needing to settle in. But once that's happened, hopefully, and especially if the anger comes down, then, from then on in, you can start making the positive practical steps to adjust to living in a dementia unit. So these are the 2 books I've written, The Resident's Voice and The Resident's Rise, both from a dementia unit. Epilogues at the back, positive practical techniques to help with coming into a dementia unit, and once you're already in a dementia unit, with aspects like depression, anxiety and anger, and how to settle those emotional experiences down so that it can be a more it's not so really peaceful, but a calmer place really in a dementia unit when the people are less distressed and stressed. So thank you for your looks and likes, and please subscribe, those of you that are interested in this channel, and I appreciate the support. Thank you.